You see, this is the point of time where we get deeper and deeper into understanding our true innate self. Do we understand the greatness of who we are? Do we choose to see the greatness of who we are? Do we choose to allow ourselves to be the greatness of who we are? And that's the key right now, is how much are we willing to take in all of this? Take in the beauty of the ocean, take in the beauty of nature, take in the beauty of the divine. The infinite nature that's within all of us all is also the divine presence that exists in each one of us. But it's one thing to be surrounded by this beauty in front of you. Look, right in front of you. And yet at the same time, is to let it embrace it and it to become one with you, to become one with your own true essence. The essence of being you, the essence of allowing this the divine flow of energy that's constantly coming back and forth, and it's never changing. While we're sleeping, we're also able to, breathe, and we're breathing in the air, we're breathing in the oxygen, we have the doors open, but we don't think, where did the water come from? It's not just from the tap, it's a much deeper source than that. And when we start understanding that deeper source, that deeper essence, that when I wake up in the morning and I ask the universe, thank you, and I look up to the universe and I say, thank you, universe, thank you for guiding me, thank you for making me for a higher purpose of some sort. This is the essence of who we are. We have that power, that innate power to make those kind of decisions. Those kind of decisions that brings us the kind of joy and bliss that exists, you see. See, Buddha was teaching enlightenment, and it's very important to enhance the consciousness at different vibrational fields and to enhance our own soul. But they enhance the enlightenment of our own being could take lifetimes. It could take this year, next year. It all depends on the individual and their willingness to be patient in the process. Not to rush it, but to go flowing like this water. It doesn't change, depends. It just depends on whether it's the moon, now it's a new moon, or is it the old? You see, it's about how much we take it all in. Are we taking it all in this moment, in this very moment? Are we tapping in to the source, this source that is also inside of us? I can't stress the importance of this because, you see, everything else is created universal. Why do we create universal ideas of what death is or what stress is when it doesn't exist? Why do we create these ideas that don't enhance us, don't elevate us, don't allow us to bring out our own unique true nature, our own unique abilities that we have within each one of us? You see, that's the power you have within you, is to make a choice, to get a feeling, hey, you know what, I want to get out of this career, I want to do something else, I want to do something that's more joyful, more rewarding, that makes a difference in my life, it makes a difference in everyone else's life as well. So in this moment, you have a choice. That choice is yours. No one else is going to take that away from you. No one can take it away from you. Anything you want can become your own desire. You want to create something today that's a little unique or different. You want to get into a different relationship and enhance new relationships. You have that power to choose. You don't have to be like every other eagle. You don't have to be like every other seagull. You don't have to be like every other human being. Because you're Japanese, you have to be a certain way, or because you're Italian, you have to act a certain way. I mean, for goodness sakes, I was born in Montreal. We moved out to West Vancouver in 1975. I remember asking my parents at that time, said, Mom, Dad, why did we move, Of course, my father said, because of the climate, and it's much milder here. Of course it is. And my mother, her response was also kind of funny and unique. She says, oh, it's because we're crazy. And I guess there is a little bit of craziness in us to make decisions that are not in tune or aligned with, say, the group. And you see, that's the biggest challenge we're facing sometimes in life is if there's too much we, the group mentality, what happens is now you negate the individual, and that's not healthy. And then the other aspect of it, and it's written in a few of my books, the other aspect of it is that if we're so much under me, the whole opera song, me, that we know so well here in the West, what happens is you also lose the identity of the group, of the we. So too much of the we takes away the individual, which you're seeing right now in Canada. Just a waste of people's time with the herd mentality, or even places like Italy or other countries where there's too much focus on the we and not on the actual individual, right? You should be happy for someone else to excel, to exceed, to do something different. And that's the key, is you got to allow them that opportunity to be able to do what they really want to do. And when you do that, then you're free to do what you want to do too. And so that's one thing. But if it's just about me, we also forget the we. So it's again a balance. The me, you take it upside down, you make it we, and that's the key. That really is the key. So on this day, keep it clear that you understand how much of the individual is important. Yes, there's 3 people most important to me, myself, and I. Taking care of myself, being connected to my source. Christianity calls it the kingdom of God within. Buddha calls it Buddha nature as being centered with the mind. Muhammad calls it something different, and Moses calls it something different. Krishna calls it something different. Yet it's still one. It's still inside of us. Whether we give it a name or not is regardless. The name of God has no name. It's within us to be able to know that the divine is within us. It's within our own body. The divinity is us within our own body. And that we can tap into that source and that ability to be able to do what we want and to think the things we want and to make them habits that are aligned with healthy habits of joy, habits of this. Look, just enjoying this in this moment, looking in front of you in the Pacific Ocean, whether it's the mountains you're looking at here, or Stony Point, Siwash Rock, all of this beauty that exists within you. It's also outside, but it is first started with your own thoughts of yourself, your own understanding of yourself, and your own embracing of yourself. Nothing out there is going to upset you. No one out there you can blame. There's nothing you can blame. It's only you. You are in charge of your own life. You're the one that chooses what's important to you. And then, whether you value money first or family first is a choice, you see. In certain cultures, as you see, they value one thing over the other, and that's okay. But choose the things you value before you get into, say, for example, certain relationships that you want in your life. Do you both coincide with the same values? Because that will be an important key on whether you can stay together and establish healthy and prosperous and relationships that are continually congruent with each other's evolvement and growth and joy that exists in all of our lives, and the willingness to also accept the changing environment, the external environment that's changing, and how flexible are we with our thoughts about it, and how do we deal with these things in a positive manner, and if anything negative comes up, how do we overcome these particular obstacles that are what I used to call obstacles or just popsicles, and I'm able to transcend it. So we can all do this. I have my own weaknesses, and I can't say that they were easy to overcome, because sometimes I had my own inability to understand why I had these particular challenges and obstacles in my own life. And so it's important for us to get beyond that and to transcend that and to choose things that are important to us, and not to ignore the darkness that exists within us sometimes, but to be able to just embrace it with compassion. You see, love is easy, very easy, but that compassion is learned. And You know, if there's one thing that I know from my own culture, being Italian and being born in Montreal and moving out here in the West, doing my undergrad in Pacific and Asian Studies, I minored in East Asian Studies, minored in Japanese Studies and majored in East Asian Studies and the humanities or sciences. They changed it. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what they are. At the end of the day, what matters is that I enjoyed learning something uniquely different and accepting the different views from the East and embracing the West and bringing them together, learning other languages, understanding Chinese calligraphy, Japanese, and speaking Japanese and kanji and all the different foreign characters, which is also exciting. So that's exciting for me. Or whether it's playing the guitar, playing acoustics, the drums, something fun, find something artistic, painting or writing. For me, of course, I've told you, in the mornings I love to write, and I can't really live a day without writing in the morning. And so if I don't, then I take the time to get centered first and meditate on that early in the morning when others are still probably sleeping. And that's important for me. It may not be important for you. But make sure you take at least 5 to 10 minutes longer before you walk out that door and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to take 5-10 more minutes. I'm going to sit on my couch or on my desk before you get out the door, because in doing that, you're able to make choices that are connected to your intuitive self. And I got that idea, and I've learned that from my father. He always said to me, son, when you're kind of in a rush to leave, maybe take another 5-10 minutes. Sit down at your desk, your bed, whatever you want, couch, and you'll probably get a better idea of how to start your day in the morning. So this is the things you want to do, is start your day on the right foot in the way you're thinking first thing in the morning, and also before you go to sleep. So when you're lying down, pick a position when you're lying down that you don't usually sleep, and just think of just one particular task that you want to achieve in your mind over and over as you go to sleep, and then your body will go into the position that it naturally wants to sleep in. But this is something you have to do for yourself. This is not something you can force. It can be pushed. It's something you have to make important to you to start creating your own world. This is what's the key. Are you creating your own world? Are you choosing to create your own world? And that fundamentally is the key here, is are you choosing to be the creator of your own world or not? Because if you're not, sometimes you might find yourself disappointed with the choices that you're making, and those choices might not be in alignment with what you're really wanting in your world. And if you're not focusing on the things that you're wanting in your world, then what happens is you start getting things out of default that are not true to you, or not true. You're not being true to yourself. You're not being honest with yourself, and you're pretending to be something that you're not. And yeah, you've received everything in other ways. But remember, abundance of whatever sort, mind, finances, it comes to you in so many a myriad of different ways, and allow them to be guided in different ways. But it starts first with your thoughts and what you choose to think, what you choose to believe. And I think it's James Allen that I still love to this day. As a Man Thinketh, that book is so profound. It so changes the way you understand that you don't get in your life what you want. You get into your life what you are. And that's James Allen. And so you need to focus on the things that are important to you, but you also need to understand that you are in control of your own consciousness. So I affect the environment, so do you. We can affect this environment immediately. I want sun instead of clouds, we get sun. I want rain instead of clouds, we get rain. We have the ability to affect the environment with our own consciousness. So our own consciousness does truly affect the environment. It can affect politics. It can affect business. It can affect the world. It can affect the earth. And this is a very powerful thing to know, that you have that innate power within you to do these things. Wow. Once you tap into that through meditation, through stillness and prayer, things will just come to you so easily and effortlessly, because you choose to connect with your divine first before acting into doing the things that you want to do. And just doing things without taking the time to really think about what's important to you No, don't do that. Make sure that you are doing them because you get this intuitive guidance to do it. You get this instinct to do it, this impulse. It never seems logical. It never is reasonable. And it's very, very important. And I'm going to give you a wonderful story about this. I had some friends, Sheila and Rob, and they have three boys, and they went to the southern states. And one gentleman at a gas station gave him all these wonderful spiritual books and religious books. One of them was called Steps to Christ. And I was still at the time going to University of Victoria, finishing my undergrad, or either I was preparing for my leadership and master's in counseling psychology from UVic and transferring to City University. And I was visiting that weekend from Victoria. Yeah, I think that's when it was. And I remember going to see my friend, Miss Kinaway Oates, and saying hello. And they had come by, Sheila and Rob, to my parents' house. And they brought these books. And I said, I really like this book called Steps to Christ. I thought, it seems like a really interesting book. And there were a few other ones that I was able to get copies, old copies, or from Banyan Bookstore, where I've done a talk before. And some of them I didn't go chapters, so I had also done talks before for the 5 pillars and the power of the present moment and awakening the power within, and these particular books that have come out in the past. Anyhow, to make a long story short, I said to Sheila and Rob, I couldn't find the Steps to Christ book anywhere. Can I borrow it? So I did. I borrowed it, and I was hoping that maybe I could make some copies of the book until I could find my own copy at the time. And I put it in the car, left it in the front seat, and that night I was staying at my parents' because I was still living in Victoria, and they were in Vancouver, and I had this hunch at about 10:30. It was pouring rain. I think it was in September, November, the time when they brought over the books when they'd come back from the south. And I went over to my bedside, and I thought, I'm already dressed to go to bed, and I'm getting this hunch to go to Alma Street and 4th Avenue. Why do I want to do that for? Well, when my hunch tells me to do something, I follow it. So I did. I got out of my pajamas, put on my clothes, and I drove from one part of Vancouver all the way to Alma and 4th. Alma means soul. And there's a bank there. And at that time I was working for the funeral home, the Richmond Funeral Home. And so I had a bank account with the Bank of Montreal, and there was the bank. The bank no longer exists, but now there's some stores there and an Italian restaurant right on the corner of 4th Avenue in Alma. I went there, it was pouring rain, cats and dogs, I mean literally, but I couldn't catch any of them. You know, old saying. And there I was, going to the bank, and I got this feeling to take out $20. So I followed my inner guidance. I went, got $20 for no reason at the Bank of Montreal. Pouring rain. I wasn't covered. It wasn't like a ATM where it was covered. I was getting soaked. I walked back to my car, and guess what? Right behind in the back of my trunk, behind my car, the bumper, was a book on the floor, wet, soaking wet, flat down, so the back cover was ripped. The back cover wasn't even there, but the last page was still there. You could see the marketing of the other books and the publisher markets. Picked it up, turned it over, Steps to Christ. It wasn't my copy that I had in the car. It was another copy. And there I picked it up, brought it, put it right beside the one that I had, as it looks like I got my own copy of Steps to Christ. And that was it. And that was the reason. Now, if I hadn't listened to my intuition to do this intuitive guidance to do this, and I'm telling you, I can tell you hundreds and hundreds of stories like this that happens to me every month. But in this particular, I wanted to share this one to you because my faith is important. But whether you're Muslim or Buddhist, or whether you choose to have no religious background, which is perfectly fine, your innate ability to tap into your source, that infinite nature's within you, that power is for all of us. It's not just for the ones that are saved. We don't need saving. There's nothing to be done other than to choose the connection with our source ourselves, to listen to our intuition, follow it. And like I said to you earlier, it's never logic, It's never logical. It's never reasonable. You just got to follow it. And when you follow it, I guarantee you, your dreams will not only come true, but if you focus on your vision and you stay consistent to your vision day and night before you go to bed, with the first thoughts of night, thinking of that vision of what you're wanting, and the first things in the morning, rather than picking up your phone and checking up on what's happening with Janet on, you take to your social media, or what's going on with your mother when you get a text. Forget that. Keep your phone off. Brush your teeth. Maybe make a green tea or a coffee. Go back, sit in your favorite room, go lie down on your bed, meditate, tap into that every day for 15, 20 minutes, half an hour. Whatever meditation source whatever style you like that works for you. There's many styles, and pick one and start being consistent with that. Keep a journal, a daily journal for a year. Write in it. Even if you don't feel like writing it in a day, just write down, I don't feel like writing and I'm in a rush today and I'm not in the mood. That's it. April 23rd, 2021. Next day, April 24th, do the same thing, April 26th, and write in it. And see how you expand your own consciousness and evolve yourself. Now, if you feel that you need psychological help, go ahead, see a counselor, see a priest, see someone, talk to a friend, talk to a girlfriend, whatever it is, do that. But in the end of the day, friends are important for unifying and connecting, but your own intuitive self is more important than anything else. That's the key. Stay connected with your true self. Stay connected with who you really are. Be aware of your own greatness. Be aware of what you're capable of doing and what you're wanting to do, because you can create a lot more through your own intuitive guidance and your own intuitive self than anything else. And for you to believe that you need something outside of yourself to give you those answers is not the way. It happens by default. It might confirm what you already know, but at the end of the day, you have to follow your own intuitive guidance within yourself. So this is Peter Sammarco. Have a great day. This is April the 11th, 2001 on a Sunday. It's a beautiful day here in Vancouver. And I wish you the glory and beauty of nature that exists. And please, most importantly, have a mind of your own. Don't listen to what other people tell you. You can make choices for your own body, your own mind, for your own health. You've been able to do it all this time. Don't allow anything outside of you. Nothing. There's new technology for medicine that's coming out now, for growing limbs, for getting younger. Our telomeres are now lengthening. All these things are coming out now today. It's in the news. It's been in the news. So look for these things. Start researching yourself, because our telomeres are lengthening as our consciousness enhances, as we start eating more pure and healthier foods, natural foods rather than processed foods. All these affects our body to stay young and to actually reverse the aging. And you can do this. We can do this ourselves. There's many different forms of energy healing, of the way we eat, the way we think today, that's not in survival mode. Remember, when you're meditating, do not breathe into your chest, because that's putting yourself into survival mode. Make sure you breathe, let your stomach come out like a Buddha belly or Santa Claus, and then exhale out. This is the key to proper meditation. And make sure you release before you meditate. If you want to write in your journal first, and then release it, your thoughts, your ideas. When I've had to help people in counseling or inmates or something, first they need to talk and vent for an hour, and then you can maybe teach them 5 or 10, 15 minutes of meditation, because first you got to release whatever's on your mind that's really actually bothering you before you consider meditating, because you can't just go into this tranquil, peaceful state if there's something disturbing your heart and your mind. You have to first release that and find ways that works for you, a modality that works for you, and I promise you, you'll be blissing out in no time. So have fun. Ciao.